Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, our production of Gore column, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives after they put out important news. With us today, happy to have him back, Patrick Power, President CEO of Arctic Star, trades in Canada under ADD, and for our friends in the US under ASDZF. If diamonds are a girl's best friend, then Arctic Star is potentially going to become an investor's best friend. And that's because they're exploring for diamonds at their Diagras property in the Northwest Territories. They're using these non-traditional methods to identify kimberlites. They've had great success already. And this is what separates them from their peers who use traditional methods and couldn't find what they're finding right now. What are they finding? Well, already they discovered 6 new kimberlites between their 2021 and their 2022 program that was highlighted by their Sequoia discovery and their Arbutus, which we're going to talk about today. As always in mining, you got to have the people. Exploration is being led by Buddy Doyle, who has already made a major discovery in the same area with Rio Tinto, discovering the Diavik mine. That Diavik diamond mine has produced over 100 million carats since 2003, and that's just 25 kilometers away from Diagras. And the Diagras Kimberlite field, which contains more than 200 kimberlites, that's about 36 kilometers away or so. From the Academy mine, sorry. So unbelievable results so far, unbelievable people on the team, great neighborhood. And the headline we're talking about today is Arctic Star discovers new kimberlite Arbutus at the Diagras project. Patrick, welcome back, my friend.
Well, thanks, George. It's great to be back. We've had some really good success in this year's drilling program, which was a follow-up to last year's 5 discoveries. Big part of this year was to put some tonnage away in Sequoia. Over the last year, we had really stunning results from Chuck Fipke, who's one of the chemistry god of Lactogras, and of course was the father of Akati. We came back with chemistry that says we're going to have large diamond emplacement, and which was kind of, Buddy had his curves that he does given the results that we had, and he was projecting into large diamond space as well. But the last thing we had happen just recently is we got some nitrogen results back from SRC. We sent them 12 diamonds, and we got 6 back with basically nitrogen-free diamonds, which are.
And for the layman, what does that mean, Patrick? Because a lot of people are going to be watching, listening.
Well, it means the diamonds are probably coming from 400 to 600 K down, where we usually get the stability field about 180 to 200 Ks. So there is no inclusions, and they're just clean white diamonds. And historically around the world, when this chemistry occurs, you get better than 50 carat diamonds around the world. And one example would be Lucara, who comes up with those 1 to 2,000 carat diamonds, and it's the same chemistry, except that's a very, very small. That's one phase in a pipe. So they're going underground now because they've mined out that phase in the last 4, 5, 6, 7 years. The thing about Sequoia is it's the biggest intrusion that we've seen up in Lactogras period. So we've got a very large body that we discovered last year. It's got chemistry that suggests greater than 50 carat diamonds. Buddy's curves are saying the same thing. It projects into large diamond space, and we've just got the information back that 50% of those diamonds that we examined, or SRC examined for us, are nitrogen free. So all those things are pointing, and that's all you can really do physically, other than now retrieve the diamonds. But it's all saying it's going to be there. So we're super excited about that. We plan to put in.
Does that mean, Patrick, you're now in a situation where it's no longer if we've got something there? Now it's more a question of how much do you have?
Yes. I think we took out 499 kilos from Sequoia last year, and we got like 499, 500 diamonds. So we're getting 1 diamond per kilo, it was our best result of the 5 intrusions that we discovered last year. So it makes us feel real happy that we got the biggest intrusion is the best intrusion. And these things are right beside the 2 mines that exist now, 35 Ks, I believe, away from Cadence, thereabouts, or actually quite a bit closer if you look at their stringer pipe Misery, because that comes right to our border. So actually to access Akati would be quicker than accessing Diavik, which is about 27 Ks away.
By the way, why are you guys having so much success when De Beers in the 90s had this, and they didn't. What's your secret sauce?
Well, it's a great question, and it's the one that has to be asked. And the result is what. So Buddy hit when he was with Rio Tinto back in the 90s era, about 100 pipes there. Like I think he's hit the most pipes of any single individual person in the Diagras field.
Awesome.
So he had all these pipes, and everyone in those days was drilling maglows because they were being successful in hitting new Kimberlites. The thing about maglows is very few of them became economic. So most of the pipes, like all the pipes in Diavik's mine plan, are not, none of them have mag associated with them. They're either EM or gravity pipes. So and it's not true in every single case, but in most cases, that is the case. So Buddy in 1998, I believe, took 20 of his Kimberlites that were all maglows. He, instead of doing tight grids like we usually do, because it's cost effective, we usually just, our ground crews, after they see a magnetic anomaly from the air, go to the ground and we do the ground geophysics and tighter spacings, but we just get off the anomaly so we can see the edges. Because, and again, it's just economics, and that's the way we do it. That's the way everyone does it. So Buddy put these very large grids around his pipes, like 5 times the size, 6 times the size. So big areas, in essence, kind of like exploring with ground geophysics. And you don't usually explore with ground geophysics. You usually follow up the airborne, which is the exploration tool.
Right.
So he did this for 20 of his pipes that were all maglows, and he found 10 more pipes based on that, just by spreading it out and seeing either other pipes or other phases of pipes that were non-magnetic. So if another pulse came through, and that you know, it's akin to Victor in Ontario for De Beers, and that Victor pipe had, the first time they drilled it, I believe it was in '88, they just really didn't have anything to it. When they went back to it 10 years later, they found another phase that became the Victor mine. And that was similar chemistry to what we're talking about in Sequoia. It produced those beautiful, clear white diamonds. And if you remember this, when De Beers used to have all the run of mine of their mines around the world, including Victor, you always saw Victor, and you always thought, why are all the run of mine, which means all the stuff, it's the good stuff, the bad stuff, the bort, the off colors, everything you get from that process is on the table. But Victor had beautiful clear diamonds, all of them. And that's the chemistry we're talking about with Sequoia, is that chemistry. I mean, it was so weird that people that are in the industry question them, why is that different than the rest of your mines in Botswana and Lesotho? Like, it's why, and it's that chemistry. It's because those diamonds are sourced from probably a different, deeper down, and that's what we're dealing with in Sequoia. And that's what's exciting about Sequoia, because it's huge. And we put, I believe, 6 or 7 holes into it this go round. We had a little weather issues. We had some blizzard, some whiteouts. We had some of our guys, our drillers had to stay in this survival shack for a few days, which is always a bit concerning. But we got 6 or 7 holes into that. So we got some good tonnage of that. Buddy's happy with the tonnage we're getting and fusing on that. And we had time to do 2 exploration targets. One of them, the first one we missed, but it's probably we couldn't explain the anomaly, so we probably missed it. We came in at a -50 angle because of the way the surface, we had to come in from the side, which is unusual, but we did. And the susmeter said we did not intersect the target we're looking for, but we had no time to really go in for some kind of vertical hole. So we went back to Sequoia, finished some more holes there, and then we went and we wanted to drill right beside Finlay. Finlay is a pipe that De Beers hit back in the 90s. But the interesting thing about that pipe is, of all the 25 pipes they hit back in the 90s, they put the most holes into this one. Like, we don't know what they hit because they don't disclose anything. But if you're putting 7 holes into something, and in terms of this present, that would be over $1 million worth of holes. So they found something that we were interested in. So we went back to Finlay. We liked the target. We hit Arbutus. We put that picture of the core of Arbutus out there, which is, I haven't seen, Buddy has seen those things in his old Diavik days, when that was some of the pipes that are produced.
Actually, let me bring that up. Let me bring up that picture. Are you okay if we bring that up?
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, let me bring that up, because I want people to kind of get a look at, so give me a second here. You can see that?
Yep, absolutely.
And I've got
So
a bigger, now I've got a bigger image of it here.
Yeah, so
I mean, this to me looks spectacular. I don't know geologically,
yeah, that's
but looks
HQ core.
spectacular. What are we looking at?
So it's HQ core. So you're looking about the diameter you're looking at is about 2.5 inches across. So you're looking at chrome diopside, which is the green, and you're looking at pyrope garnet, which is the red. But what people don't see, and it is really important, is those light green things you see, which dominate the core. About half of this core is olivine, which is super important. It's another indicator. And they're all coarse grain, which we love because all these minerals you look at, they grow with diamond. They grow touching diamond. And the size you see there, your diamonds have a bigger potential than the size you see there because they are on the hardness scale 8, 9, diamonds are 10. So they'll wear better than these grains. So when you see this kind of grains and this size of grain, you always want coarse grain things. If you see sand size particles, you know that's your potential of your diamonds is somewhere in that range. If you see these, we don't have a diamond count from this, but it's right beside Finley, which they put 7 holes into, and it looks, it's exciting to look at. It needs to be, we're going to fuse it. We're going to fuse this first before we get to the sequoia stuff. We have a lot more sequoia core to fuse and a lot more tonnage. But this will be fused first and we'll see what this comes out. And it's just got, it looks spectacular, but we have to see what the fuse.
I think the ultimate test is when your wife looks at this,
How
does she look at you and say, okay, I want one of those or one of those and one of
it's, we've done this for a very, very long time. And this is the first time like I said, it's the first time I've seen this kind of core.
Wow. Okay. That's saying something, Patrick. No,
Buddy has seen more because he was the guy who, brought Diavik into existence. And the nice thing about it is this resembles the pipes that were production. So we'll see. With the fact that we just went in there because we drilled this first because we have a lot of targets we didn't get to. There's a lot. We finished the geophysics. The other thing we did is we finished off the 40 or the 56% of the property that we hadn't flown last year because we had weather issues last year. We finished all that. So we have all the airborne done, and we've done a whole bunch of ground geophysics on those airborne targets. So we've got a whole pile of information. There's a lot more coming up. We're getting a lot of excitement from people around the world that we, based on this last news release we put out.
That's a question I want to probe a little more. A lot of times when I speak to the exploration guys and they talk about great results, the first thing I ask, or not first, one of the things I ask is, okay, what's the reaction from your industry? Because if it's really good, 1 or 2 or maybe a few people are going to call. I know you can't be specific, but what kind of calls are you getting, and what kind of volume of calls are you getting based on what you've just announced now?
We're getting a lot of the people from the industry calling us for the first time. So we've had interest from the Rios and other companies like that in the last couple of years, but it got really intensified from a lot more diamond groups around the planet, which is really kind of interesting and really positive. And we've had great discussions. There's a lot going on that mostly we can't talk about, but it's good. And it's, the space has been in trouble for 10 years and it's broken out to be a great space to be in right now. And we're kind of exclusive in that space with a couple of, friends of ours that are exploring. But, the diamond prices they're within 5% of their highs right now of all time. Argyle closed down last year, which supplied 25% of the world's rough. The difficulties with the horrible situation in Russia is kind of curbed 30 to 40% of the rough on the market. So there is a huge squeeze right now, and nothing in the perceivable future for anybody putting anything online. So we're kind of it. So
you're kind of the bell. You're kind of the bell of the ball right now, or one of the bells of the ball, because
10 years to be a bell of something, but if you hang in there long enough, the tide will turn, and in the space the tide has turned, and but it's an odd, because you have no one else. If you have a 10,000 gold companies, you're going to have people making money in that space on some of those companies. So people understand the lingo, they understand how it works.
Right.
We've kind of lost that in the diamond world because there's just no one doing this, and there's no one making money on anybody else in the diamond space. But the space is there, believe me. it's a great space to be in, and it's starting to show up with, as we talked about earlier, the calls that are coming in, and from the quality of people and institutions that are talking to us now, it's changing, and that's good. And it's based on, it's only based on.
And you deserve that, because a lot of people don't know who are watching or listening, but you're not a Johnny come lately. You're not a Patty come lately. You've been dedicated to Arctic Star for what, 15 years?
Well, before
we've known each other.
Before
maybe
your
longer.
hair and my hair got gray. So
right.
Like long before that. Yeah, it's been
and people should know that, because you could have easily hopped on to the hot middle of the day, molybdenum and this and this and that, or cannabis, but you have stuck to Arctic Star and diamonds even through the darkest times when, I guess because of blood diamond and all that awareness, and people for a while, you stuck through all of that, and here you are, and you're hopefully going to receive real great benefit.
I totally agree. And what really helped us is the lack of interest in the space kind of got us the Diagras property. I mean, De Beers held that for many, like decades before they finally dropped it. And we picked it up the day after they dropped it. So you wouldn't have had that kind of open space in the world if it hadn't got unpopular for a period of time. So it helped us quite a bit.
Feels like
because of that.
Feels like you're Forrest Gump, the last shrimping boat, and that's going to bring in, and hopefully that'll bring in the same kind of riches. So what's next, Patrick? Between Sequoia and Arbutus, I was pronouncing Arbutus before you corrected me, but between Sequoia and Arbutus, what can investors expect next in 2022? Because there is
a lot of fusion, a lot of diamond results. So all this core, a lot of the Sequoia and the new Arbutus pipe goes to the lab. I think we're going to put Arbutus in first and kind of push that through, because it's we just got that done before the ice was going, and we're really pushing at the end, because if we get stuck up there, everything has to be slung by helicopter back to Yellowknife, and that's a huge expense. So we're on the twins on the lab. And the good thing about this, actually, I haven't spoken about this, is Arbutus is a land-based kimberlite. So if we do get really good results out of Arbutus, there's a potential to go in there in the summertime and follow up with drilling, which usually we don't like doing if we're on ice, because obviously if we have to do it in the summertime, we're going to come from a setback 50 meters from the shore, because that's the legal, you have to set back 50 meters you drill. And if every time you drill on a real tough angle, it's a lot of meaningless granite you're going to get, and then it's very difficult to control the bit. So you might miss your target, and it costs a fortune to do that kind of stuff. So,
but being on land, or you just
being on land, it's vertical holes, and
advantage.
And if we get really nice diamond results out of this, we like to, you can't go up there to drill 1 or 2 holes. You got to drill. Mobilizing in the Arctic is a big cost. So you need to kind of offset that with like a 10-hole program. So if we get really good diamond results, we can think about drilling 10 holes into Arbutus if we get the results out of that. That'd be very interesting.
So when you say if, last question, what does the cadence look like? Here we are in the first week, going into the second week of June. What does the cadence look at? When can you expect results to start coming back from Arbutus first, and then you got more from Sequoia, so investors can kind of get a sense of the cadence?
So we will, right now, all the core is in Yellowknife from both Kimberlites. It's being split, observed and logged, and it will be broken down to, I believe, 10-kilo bags and sent to SRC for fusion. And that will be within the next, I would say, 14 days. It'll all be in the lab. So it'll be out of Yellowknife pretty quick. It just needs to be split and logged. And yeah, we'll have like 4 to 6 weeks after that, we'll have fusion. So a lot of results in the diamond world, kind of like over the whole summer.
No, so by the end of July, we should start seeing the first ballpark, give or take. We should hopefully start seeing the first set of results, and then more and more.
And that should be an Arbutus, and that could be a really, really interesting result based on what we're seeing right there.
Yeah, and it makes sense, because if it's on land and they're great, you potentially want to get right back there. And then you got Sequoia also, right?
Sequoia is it's a lake, but it's a fitter lake, as we say, because it fits the actual Kimberlite. It's not in a Lac de Gras where like Diavik was, in a very large lake, and you're in the middle of it. So that's not feasible. This is feasible. I mean, I don't think we do this, but Sequoia could be drilled in the summer because the lake fits the Kimberlite. So that when it was dug out by the glacier, it's infilled with water, but
Right.
to the shape.
Actually, I didn't mean that. What I meant was, but thanks for clarifying that. What I meant was you got Sequoia potential result, more Sequoia results also?
Oh yeah, no, we have a
Yeah.
lot of tonnage coming. We have tonnage coming out of Sequoia, so there'll be a lot of interesting results there. And that could be, both these things have a lot of interest in them. So I mean, I haven't had pipes in my world as interesting as these are. I mean, there'll be more in the future, but these really are interesting. They've already proven themselves interesting. We already have diamond results from Sequoia, our best diamond results. And it's a large intrusion, but it has a great chemistry that suggests greater than 50 carat diamonds. And putting all that together and no nitrogen in half the diamonds, which is another thing that says it's going to have really nice large stones. So we're crossing our fingers. We used HQ this year as opposed to NQ last year, so we have a bigger core. We're getting, I think, about 59% more weight per meter of core. So all good, and that allows you to probably, knock on wood, hit some larger stones.
Well, Patrick, look, congratulations, man. I mean, to see what the results came back from Sequoia, and now to see Arbutus and see that core was pretty unbelievable. And to see, look, I've known you long enough. You've never been a promoter type. You've always been very factual. We're doing this. We're doing this. So to see the kind of smile and the excitement and the anticipation says a lot. And sometimes I think it's even more valuable. And can't wait to see what's going to start coming out as by the end of July. But hopefully people see a PDAC next week in Toronto. You'll be in town for a day or so, right?
Yeah, I'll be on the floor on Tuesday. So Tuesday is my day to be in the booth, and I think we're going to have Mr. Sittler there too. So Daryl and I will man the booth. And yeah, Captain Daryl, and yeah, come by and see us, and we'll chat, and we'll have pictures and of core. We'll have we might even have core there. I'm not too sure about that yet because we're trying to get a piece flowing down. But yeah, it's exciting, and we'd love to talk to anyone who's got any interest.
Well, we'll be there, and for those who are watching this who can't be there, they're going to be watching to see when the results start coming out, and this is going to be exciting 2022. And can't wait for that, buddy. But we'll see you next week. But for now, congrats and thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot, George. It's great to see you again.
For everybody at home who's been watching or listening by podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, your favorite podcast platform, the company that you see on the screen, Arctic Star Exploration, trades in Canada under ADD. For our friends in the US, ASDZF. To do due diligence, two ways to do that. First, get to the company's profile page on Agoracom, because there's a lot going on here. So, and we know not all of you are, including me, are not experts in geology, but we've got a great layman's overview for you, so you understand what the company is doing. And then from there, take that knowledge, link over the Arctic Star website to your deep dive due diligence. And hopefully today you discovered your next great diamond company. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. See you next time.
Take care.
Hey guys, the video's over, but don't forget to help your company by liking it and even leaving a comment below. And then don't forget to help yourself by subscribing to our YouTube channel so you never miss another great Agoracom small cap video.